wanted to show you my new oracle cards that I got. I have many friends who have some decks from this lovely creator, and it was a pretty big deal for me to get a couple of my own. Oracle decks are new for me. I'm no expert, but they really help me feel grounded. And, you know, it's one of those things, a lot of the things in the spiritual healing space or when you go on a healing journey, it's easy to like poo-poo them, but you cannot deny the good effects of a placebo effect, even if that's all that it is. And I think placebo effects are still effects because they are still your mind. And I personally believe your mind is very powerful. And by getting my mind in order and more grounded, it has been vital for my healing journey. So that's why even if you might not believe in oracle decks or what they do, they might still actually be really nice for you to try yourself. I love these decks because of the artwork. I did have one gifted to me. That's kind of how it started, where I was like, okay, I should maybe get into this as a practice for myself. I'm really trying to work on that, like integrating and embodying the practices that I've come to love so much across and like during my year, really serious dive into a healing journey out of necessity because, yeah, it's driven me to the last strands of my mental health. Here's some of the artwork. It's so beautiful. But honestly, I was just kind of like pretty much brought to tears by reading the little booklet that comes with it. I've only pulled this one out like 3 times. I have another deck that I'll show another day that I really like using, but this one is specifically the Starseed Oracle. So it's a little different, and it called to me this morning. But I wanted to read this to you because maybe it resonates. Because some of you, if you're seeing this, you might be like, what is a starseed? What is a starseed? Starseeds are souls who haven't only incarnated on Earth. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Starseeds often feel misplaced in the world. They possess a longing for home without really knowing where home is or what the word even means. This is because they've incarnated in places very different from Earth. If hearing this strikes a chord in your heart or makes you feel emotional, it's likely you're a starseed soul. Starseeds are scattered across the planet. Because they feel so different, it's not uncommon for them to spend part of their lives trying to fit in or being in some form of spiritual closet. If you're dimming your light to fit in, I invite you to stop and instead start embracing the unique light that you came here to share. Treat your time on Earth like a vacation. The more courageously you show the world who you truly are, the easier it will be for your people to find you. It's safe for you to be here and to feel at home. So that just hit me so much reading it this morning because that's something I've really been struggling with, feeling different from other people that I meet. So I also might as well just like take you through some steps of using this deck because there's different ways that I've like seen my friends do it or whatever, different ways to use your deck. But I really resonate with the like instructions that come in these booklets from Rebecca Campbell. So there's an attunement you can do when you first use the deck, or you can use it every time, or you can use it before doing it with others. Okay, I love this because I've written and spoken in a little podcast before, which you can find on my website, about how words are spells. So even if saying a speech or whatever, you don't think it does anything, it does. So that's why stuff like this I like. Okay, so for the sake of the video, I put the cards back in the box. So take the Starseed Oracle box and hold it to the stars. I'll hold it so you can see. Hold it to the stars, state the following out loud or in a whisper. I call upon the ancient wisdom of the stars and Akasha, star keepers, star ancestors, councils of light, benevolent beings of the highest realms only. Come, come, come. Great Cosmic Mother, I surrender to your holding. Grandmother Moon, I surrender to your rhythmic pulse. Great Cosmic Father, I surrender to your protection. Grandfather Sun, I surrender to your support. Now take the box and hold it to your heart. I bow to the wisdom of my own inner temple and allow my soul's true voice to step in. I activate the portal of my heart as the gateway between heaven and earth. I allow my personality to step out of the way. May these cards act as doorways to the wisdom deep within the temple of my heart and the heart of all those I read for. May they only ever reveal the heart's deepest, purest, and most potent prayers, and the soul's highest callings for the good of all people and beings. May the guidance and messages only ever be kind, clear, supportive, and helpful. Moving from my will to thy will, I step out of the way. Finally, take your Starseed Oracle box and hold it to the earth. For the sake of the video, let's pretend holding it to the earth. I call upon the steady pulse and grounded wisdom of the earth, stone people, plant people, keepers of the earth. Guide me and all those I read for by allowing the cards to reveal the grounded action that's most helpful and only ever for the highest benefit of all. May they anchor and beat all who come into contact with them back home to the effortless rhythm of you, dear sweet mother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that so much. And then, let's see. I don't know if this book doesn't have it, but my other book has another action that I really like, where you take your heart and then you rise it up above your head to this chakra. I'm still getting familiar with the chakras. And then I believe that one has you speak, and then you sweep a bubble of energy around you. And then after your reading, you do the reverse. I'm not gonna do it yet. You sweep your arms back up front to your heart, and then you close. But let's look at what the cards say for me today. So I'm sacrificing a little bit because I'm on my little computer chair. I love this art. So some people just lay the cards out and then you hold your hand over them and try to see if one kind of like calls to you. This is a technique I learned from another friend. We were doing some oracle cards for us at a tea ceremony. We had a couple tea ceremonies with them. They were really beautiful. So the way they show is you just kind of shuffle the cards, and if a little chunk falls out, you take that chunk and then you kind of try to intuit pick one of those cards. So So that's what I'm going to do. You just kind of be salty about it. Harder to do in your lap, but that's okay. All right, I have a chunk. So this is my chunk that fell out. So there's no right or wrong way to do it based off of what I've deduced. You hold them up and see which one. I just go to like which one my eye lands on first. So for me, that was this one. The moment of truth. Let's look at it together. The 7 Star Sisters. Birthing creations. Tapestry of life. Expression. I love that. And now we go to the reference. This is what it says. There are new creations that want to be born. Beauty that's yearning to be woven. New consciousness that's longing to be breathed into life. If you draw this card, you're being called to surrender to these creations, to usher in a new era of consciousness and do your bit in weaving the web of life. If you know me and where I am right now in my life, which only my partner does, this is crazy how on the nose this is. This is the card of the artist and the midwife. You're being called to ponder questions. What wants to be birthed through you? What new creations are whispering in your ear? What beauty are you being called to make? Creativity and intuition come from the same sacred place. They occur when we find ourselves flowing with the rest of life. Earth is renowned as a planet of manifestation and creativity, and yet so many of us have forgotten how to create. Somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing ourselves as artists, as creatives, as poets. Yet to be human is to be creative. Creativity is part of your true nature. That's powerful. Perhaps you're being called to surrender to a creative project, such as a new business or a book, or perhaps you're being called to weave beauty in your home or in the way you cook. Regardless of the end result, you're being called to express yourself through your creativity. To surrender to the creative projects that both scare and excite you. To find a way to weave beauty back into everyday life. For where there's creativity, spirit, and soul are present, and the world needs those qualities more now than ever before. And then a lot, depending on the deck, but these ones, it seems, from Rebecca, seem to come with a prompt at the end. So this one says, Starseed Soul Inquiry. What new creations are you being called to birth? So then next, in a little oracle card ceremony, for example, when I do this with my partner, or someday in the future when I do it with friends who are into this type of thing, and other ceremonies, a really good phrase I like to ask is, what did that bring up for you? Because if you're new to oracle cards, you might be like, like, I don't know. So a really good way to articulate how to kind of verbally process it out, is to ask yourself or to ask whoever's present is, what did that bring up for you? So what it brings up for me is confirmation that I'm on the right track. Surrender is a lesson I think that my mental health decline is forcing me to learn as someone who has only achieved success through control, grit, and very, very hard to enforce discipline on myself. And that has not been natural, and that has caused burnout, and it was not in alignment with my true nature. So I'm being forced to surrender, and like I'm birthing a new timeline for myself right now, and it's not easy. Another thing it brought up for me was, I brought up something that I came across a little bit ago that hit me different, and it said, deriving yourself of pleasure is a form of self-harm. And that hit me pretty deeply because I'm noticing as I am in my path of healing and self-discovery that I will do that. I will prevent myself from doing things that are so pleasurable to me, that are aligned with my true nature, aligned with my purpose, because of my neural pathways that have been developed, my old programming, where I need to have to earn the pleasure. And I'm not talking about sexual pleasure. I'm talking about human joy. I'm talking about painting, doing my music, doing art, my creativity. Like, it feels like those are something I can only allow myself to enjoy once I've muscled through something I really don't want to do, a responsibility first, or some admin, back-end computer work, prepping for my new businesses first. And so I've only just become self-aware of that. And that's something I do want to focus on moving forward, to kind of flip that, because by investing my energy into the things that ignite me and fill me up, it gives me energy, and then it creates a need to do the other work, to support it, to ship it, to bring it to the collective, instead of the other way around, where it's like, okay, let me do the mundane, tedious work that I don't love, I'm very burnt out on doing anymore, to create the container, and then I can have fun, and then I can do the reward. But I want to change that. And it kind of goes, I might as well show this. So this is something I had a passion to work on last night. When I paint, it requires a lot of focus, so it's really draining on me, so I only do it sporadically. But this is what I'm working on now. So it's flipped, but it says, life is in the mind of the beholder. So that's a message from Source that I had come to me. I have a little list of messages and affirmations and mantras that I'm working on making prints of. So I make them digitally and then trace them over using my light table and using colors that I like. And I'm going to work up to, like, as I get more familiar with the chakras, aligning the color choices with the chakras that I want to, like, call in, and like do other spiritual practices and things to literally spiritually infuse these works with the energy. And then my hope is to release them. And like, my point is to put them around my house. I have a little collection started, but I have, it's in the works. It's a long process, but yeah, that's my download for today. And now, since our ceremony is done, which another reason, I don't know if you can like feel it from just hearing me read the little accompaniment from the booklet. Again, even if you don't believe that the universe, even though it's real, the universe connects with you if you call in and set your intention and open the bridge to connect with your higher self and all the beings we talked about, so that you will end up picking a card that you are meant to see and process and like contemplate, like, okay, like, how does this connect to where I am right now, today, in this moment? Like, what do I need to hear? Even if you don't necessarily think that's true for you or whatever, I don't think you can deny that like hearing the encouraging language and just positivity is a great way to start your day. So some people have a little rip-off daily calendar with like a funny cartoon or, you know, a happy saying, and some people like to pull from oracle cards in the morning to kind of start their day on the right foot. So this is an example of something I have derived, or not derived pleasure from. I've kept myself from getting pleasure from because I'm like, oh, I don't deserve to enjoy that this morning. Like I need to do something responsible first, or something productive first. Trigger word, trigger warning, productive. But after doing it, like, I just feel like I step into a completely different frame of mind, and it just reminds me of priorities in life, and it makes me, makes me feel good. And that's the point for me right now. What feels good. Okay. And we'll close our ceremony because we're done. So we take our hands to our heart and we sweep the energy back up around us. There's verbiage that goes along with it, but I'm still working on memorizing that and all that stuff. And then my instinct is always from practicing yoga to be like, namaste, to end the ceremony, no matter what it is. But I've been trying to think of like my own way to end my ceremonies. So something, but instead of namaste, another one I want to try using is like, may peace be with you, and send my intention to you, whoever's watching this. So may peace be with you. I hope watching this made your day a little